side of the coast, you get one of the most beautiful scenic drives.
Rahim. Someone came to me. Well, first of all, we started at 9:30 and we ended at 12, 2.5 hours, 9:30 to 12, 2.5. And then we had a little tea break, and then we had about 50 minutes of question and answer, but still we could not complete the subject of RIBA. Even the half an hour that we now have still would not be enough. Someone came to me and said, I need to buy a house. It's a critical need for that. The house is on sale for 500,000 rands, and I need another 200,000. And I'm going to get it from the bank. What alternative is there for me? Because I desperately need the house. I have the children. But first of all, you must in your heart have this firm resolve. I'd rather dig my grave and bury myself, but I don't want RIBA, not for me, not for my family, not for my children, no. And then you must raise your hands and make dua to Allah, who has already said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whosoever has fear of Allah, إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ, He will open a way for you. If you have money and you do not want it to remain unused, don't put it in the bank in a fixed deposit so that the bank will invest it and the bank will give you a fixed return on your money so you get some income. No. You invest it yourself. You see? So this becomes a partnership that you will put up the 200,000 and that person will put up the 300,000. Or if you don't have 200,000, 2 people with 100,000 each. Or 4 people with 50,000 each. Will put up the balance and the house is bought. When the house is bought, you are not the sole owner. All those who have participated become partners in the ownership of the house. Good. So you have 60% ownership, and that person who paid the 200 has a 40% ownership in the house. The partnership is responsible for paying taxes. The partnership is responsible for maintenance and repairs in the proportion of ownership. So if it's 1,000 rands to be paid for maintenance, you will pay 600 and your partner will pay 400 because you have a 60% ownership. It's called equity, 60% equity, 40%. Now, the partnership now signed an agreement with you, a rental agreement. And the rental agreement is based upon market rental value, which is determined independently. Suppose the market rental value is 5,000 rands a month. Then you will pay, in order to occupy the house, you will pay 5,000 rands a month. When you do that, 3,000 will come back to you. So you're paying only 2,000. But the book shows that you paid 5, and then 3,000 came back to you because you have a 60% ownership in the house. And your partner will get 2,000 rands. This is halal for him. I have never found as yet, apart from one PhD thesis, one solitary, any attack on the validity of a rental agreement. So I am not that much of a scholar in this field to be able to critically determine the subject. But because I have not seen anything that is credible as an attack on a rental agreement that is invalid, I have come to the conclusion, as everybody else have come to the conclusion, that a rental agreement is permissible in Islam. Good. But the partnership will sign a second agreement, two agreements, independent agreements. You can't have the two agreements in one. And the second agreement permits you to buy the ownership that your partner has in the house. Buy either in stages or whenever you are in a position to buy. So 1 year you'll buy 10% from his 40. So yours become 17, his is 30. But every time that you buy part of the ownership of the house or part of the equity, it must always be on the basis of the market value of the house, which can change. It can go up, it can go down. Because in Islam, business transactions are always made in the market, meaning at market price. Eventually, you now own 80% of the house, and your partner owns 20%. So when you pay you're still paying your 5,000 every month in rent, but now 4,000 comes back to you, and 1,000 goes to your partner. Until eventually you buy out your partner and you have 100% ownership of the house. You have paid less this way than if you had gone to the bank to borrow the 2,000, because you've cut out a third party. Number two, you have not entered into RIBA, except the part about being brands. If you can designate the transaction in dinars and work in dinars, you cut out that part of it. And number three, your partner has received a halal return on his investment. So here is a method in which you can buy houses, buy cars and so on, without entering into RIBA. You just have to look for people who want to invest their money halal. I don't want to put money in a fixed deposit. Any questions on this answer? Good, so we can continue. Very good, mashallah. You must not invite too many questions. People want to sleep. Number two, those of you who heard the radio talk last night would have heard that the suspiciously docile conduct of the Egyptian armed forces in the face of the Egyptian uprising, dramatic Egyptian uprising. Never had something like that in Egyptian history, not even in the days of the Jamal Abdel Nasser revolution. We are anticipating that suspicious, docile conduct has a story behind it. And the story behind it is that the next chapter would be that the Egyptian armed forces are going to hold elections in Egypt, that they're going to be very strange for Egyptians who are already so accustomed to voting 99% in favor of Hosni Mubarak, and But now this is going to be strange. this is going to be a rare election. Huh? And the Egyptian armed forces or the government will try to stack the table in favor of the Islamic movement. I'm not using any names, and I'm saying Islamic movement. And it is not far-fetched for us to anticipate that a couple months down the road, the Islamic movement in Egypt could form the government. One of the reasons why the Egyptian people came out onto the streets so dramatically in such huge numbers, one of the reasons, is because of biting poverty and destitution amongst the masses of Egypt, the overwhelming majority of whom could never afford to come to this retreat. So they would be looking forward with tears in their hearts that Islam will take them out of poverty. Islam will take them out of this biting misery, because we now have Islam in government. When they become even poorer, when an Islamic government comes, that will set the stage for the slaughter of Islam. Lots of people will lose faith in Islam. Credibility will be gone. But why would an Islamic government in Egypt fail to take the people out of fighting poverty and destitution? RIBA is the reason. Sheikh Muhammad Abdu, the Sheikh al-Azhar, 100-something years ago, the end of the last century, went to Europe. This is after the French Revolution had broken the back of the Christian church, and the prohibition of RIBA, which had been enforced in Christian Europe. Just read that. You know the British Sheikh I talk about? What was his name? Shakespeare, yeah. What was the name of the book? Merchant of Venice. The back of the Christian church was broken in Europe, and an economy had emerged now which was based on RIBA. The political system also, the back of the Christian church was broken. Europe was Christendom. And as Christendom, Europe recognized Allah, meaning God, as Al-Malik. We call it divine right of kings, the theory, the political theory. And Al-Malik appointed the church as his representative, his Khalifa, church in Rome, the Pope. And the Pope had to anoint you as king or as emperor. Otherwise, you would have no legitimacy in the eyes of the people. So there was this divine component which recognized Allah's sovereignty. The French Revolution destroyed that, and a new political system emerged in Europe, in which Allah is no longer sovereign, the state is now sovereign. Parliament is sovereign, Supreme Court is sovereign. Allah can make a law to prohibit RIBA. We, the state, make it halal. Both the economic part and the political was shirk. Shirk. The very foundation was shirk. But Sheikh al-Azhar forgot to take his torchlight with him when he went to Europe. So he couldn't see the shirk. So he came back to Egypt and made a statement which astonished